Hopefully you can't hear that. Okay, hi everybody. Welcome to another edition of What Gives here on a Tuesday afternoon this time, usually 11 a.m. Eastern, but we have a very special guest joining us in Mark Samuel from IWON Organics, who is joining. Thank you, Mark, for joining us today from the West Coast.
Thanks for having me. You got the baby in the background.
I got the baby in the background.
Bring the baby into the picture. Let me see that baby.
Oh. All right, hold on. I'm going to be right back.
Bring the baby in here. Let's go.
Let's
talk about what's important.
A little bit on the.
I like it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what's important.
Tell us about Givz,
Nicole. Yes. So we enable brands to step back from discounts and weave in social impact using donation incentives that can look something like, we're going to give you 10% off and 10% to the charity of your choice. This drives AOV, this drives customer lifetime value, and we do good in the process. And we have another special guest. This is Andrew's little guy.
What's his name?
So this is Blake. Blake. You want to say hello?
What's up, Blake? How you doing, Blake?
He's starstruck right now.
That's all good.
He would love to hear. He wants to know all about IWON Organics because actually, my mother, no joke, I was just looking for the bag, but we've already finished it and thrown it away. So she came in and she's like, "Hey, these are amazing snacks for this little guy and who's just feeding himself now, as well as my 3-year-old." So, Mark, take it away. Tell us about IWON, what the name means, and everything.
Sure. IWON Organics is I'm Winning on Nutrition. We started it in 2016, but we really got going in 2018 when we had launched our extruded snacks, which most people know us for. So we have a puff and a sticks line in the salty snack category. And then we've just launched a cereal line and a granola line over the last 12 months. So that's what we've been doing. But as you know, the important stuff is Blake. Kids, that's the important stuff. I think we'll talk about whatever you guys want to talk about, but let's get real. Family's more important, but go ahead.
Yeah. And actually I have some of your cereal here. And Andrew, this is the only cereal I let my kids eat because it's actually like good. But as you can tell, that's him and his family. And so Mark, I actually talked to my kids about this, about who you are and that you have your family here in your brand. And I think that's incredibly meaningful and inspirational. So I appreciate that. Thank you. And I actually would love to hear you give back in your mission. You talk about that on your site as well, to the heart of your brand. You give to a charity, a nonprofit called Heart of a Hero. I'd love to hear a little bit more about that and how that came about, because it's really cool.
Yeah. So Ricky Menet launched that some years ago. He goes and visits kids. It hasn't been able to be done the same way, of course, the last couple of years, but they're just getting it back going again. He visits kids who are terminally ill. It had really hit home, as they would say, because he was local here to the Bay Area when I had met him, and it was because he was visiting a childhood friend of mine whose daughter who had eventually had passed away. And so when I saw some photos of him and what he was doing, not just with her, but with all the other kids that he was involved with, it just really hit home. And we were going to have some sort of affiliation, with giving back and the sorts, which I've done with previous brands. But this one, when I saw him and then when I met him personally, it was just one of those moments when I knew this is exactly who we're going to be a part of.
That is so neat. I thank you for sharing that. And I love that. And that with every purchase, people get to support that. That is super cool. I do have a business centered question for you. And then I want to actually turn it a little bit and go into health and family. Would love to hear, as you're selling your IWON organic snacks and looking at other alternatives to drive sales. Discounts, of course, work, but you don't always want to discount. What are some alternative strategies that you use to drive sales?
Is this just retail, online and physical retail?
Yeah, I would say both. Yeah, all of the above.
We call it trade spend. So, CPGs, this is one of those things also early stage founders. It's funny, I just got an email, so it's just coincident, from a founder who has an emerging brand, and he wanted to talk specifically on that because he saw me post about it. Trade spend is one of those things that many founders don't understand how much they're actually going to have to spend to move product off shelf, whether it's online, right? Whether it's online or physically on shelf. You do have a big number that's involved with both promotion, digital coupons, the idea of just digital marketing. So you have ads that are running on Facebook or Instagram. All of this is involved with wanting to move the product. Again, whether direct to consumer or physically in brick or mortar. So again, we call it trade spend. It's a big number. People think it's closer to 20. Sometimes emerging brands can be as high as 30, 35, and they don't realize it. It's why margin is so important out the gate. I could talk on it for days. I won't. Back to you.
So interestingly, on that margin point, just to stay on there for a second, part of what Givz does is allow brands to kind of move away from discounts as much as possible, move towards social impact, and in the process preserve a lot of that margin, right? There's a phenomenon with Givz where instead of doing a 20% off coupon, you could do a 10% off coupon plus 10% to give to any charity that you want. Now there's multiple layers to this. One, now you're making, in terms of top line revenue coming in, 90% of that revenue comes in instead of 80% with the 20% discount, right? So you're getting more top line revenue as a business, which may or may not matter to you. But if you're valued off of revenue multiples at the end of the day, it probably matters. But then on the backside, you actually have the ability as a customer to allocate that money, that extra 10% to any charity that you want. So somebody that does do that now gets, they got 10% off. They donated 10% to the charity of their choice. So net margin wise, IWON or a similar company comes out the same as if it was a 20% discount. Again, better brand image and all sorts of stuff like that. Better consumer psychology around not paying 80%, actually paying 90%, closer to full price is better. But net margin wise, you're coming out the same. But there's about half the time where people don't actually allocate the money, right? They kind of like a gift card, and people, they want to use gift cards, but then they just forget, or life gets in the way. And so in that case, the brand has the option. They can donate that money on top to whatever charity they want, or they can actually they can put that back into their business and make a better Givz type of incentive offer. So instead of a 10% off plus 10% to give to charity, financially equivalently, you could say 10% off plus 20% to give to charity, and now you net will come out at that 80% margin on the top line that you had with the 20% discount. How does that how does that feel from a brand perspective in terms of like, hey, this is a hurdle that we had to get over in terms of like, hey, half the people aren't going to actually make the donation, so we can actually increase the percentage to get more people to buy and ultimately send more money to charity that way?
There's a lot to unpack there. So I don't know how to answer that. That's a lot. And anybody who's watching this or is trying to get an idea that, I think you'd have to explain that and break it into layers.
Yeah.
I'll just give a sort of more of a general comment.
Yes.
Brands need to have a social impact one way or another today. Whether it's through Givz, through their own thing, there's a lot of, I could kind of point out a few things. There's probably bigger players who have plenty of cash that you don't even know are a part of specific charities or some sort of, or that they donate specifically to a cause. That's just one thing. That's like top of line, right? Then there's others who are applying it within their marketing strategies. It's almost like you think of what they're doing outside of the brand every time you think of the brand. Those are the ones that have a lot of impact. As far as the top line and where you're going to go with this is just more commentary from a brand. I don't think we think that deep. Majority, 99% of us don't. So you'd have to sort of explain that and get into it. There's also the comment that you made about multiples that I'll just make a general comment. no early stage founder should even be thinking about that. If somebody's worried about their top line revenue because of the multiple that they need, maybe because of this idea of raising, that's not a great one. Again, that I know why you're saying it and the like. I'm just keeping it raw and uncut here. I don't know. I got that. So anyway, there's some commentary on it.
Do you have to grow top line sales month over month in terms of like, hey, like growing that top line sales is important, let alone the multiple point probably doesn't make sense. It definitely doesn't make sense at the early stage. But yes, like growing top line sales month over month, I'm trying to back into the piece that I always hear about discounts that hurts is like, hey, it's really hurting our top line sales when we're giving out these discounts, and that type of growth then isn't showing, and then you either can't raise or you can't. I think
if I'm Givz, I'm only focused on the impact piece. I don't really care. This is going to again sound. I'm not really worried about whether or not they're focused on top line or how much burn, how much cash they're burning, because the reality is, and again, just giving you insight, most of these companies are just burning tons of cash, right? And so they are focused on what you had noted, which is this top line thing. For some of it, and it comes into play because even for us, we're in the middle of an A round. It's like, where are we going? What's it look like? But I'm a little bit more focused than most on the bottom line. How much did we burn and how quickly are we getting to profitability? But to each their own. Everybody has their own story, access to capital and the like. Going back to what the subject matter is, I like the idea of just Givz super hyper focused on the impact piece. Super hyper focused on the impact piece. And if the brand understands those layers that you had provided, or if they did not, the ones that do, it's almost like in sales, you go to low-hanging fruit, right? The ones that you immediately can offer impact and they understand the value. The ones that you're speaking to who immediately get it, they're full of impact and they understand whether or not it's going to be going to, sort of the trade spend, or is some of it going to be proportionately given to this donate piece. Those are the ones that I'm going after. The ones that start kicking out commentary about top line, bottom line, multiples, no. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, I think that's great. And a lot of the brands I've been talking to, and actually coming out of Expo, which I got to meet you in person, so cool.
Woo!
It was awesome. I feel like I'm still on a high from
shout out that. Sorry,
I'm here for it. So I would say definitely when there is an immediate connection, when I talk about, hey, we're giving $5 to charity to pay it forward here, and immediately we connect on this impact piece. And a lot of brands that when they're starting, they're like, we know we want to start our brand with impact, and we're like, hey, we have a turnkey way to help you do that. And a lot of times brands don't know that that's possible outside of a conventional co-venture agreement. So I would say like disrupting cause marketing and making that more innovative and simple as part of, and it doesn't interfere with the purchase journey either, is really great, and has been wonderful conversations to have. Now I know we're coming up on time, but I have to add this. I'm sorry, what's that?
I have a comment, one more comment on that. I don't care about the time unless you guys are sharp on the 15.
No, we're okay. We'll have you.
I'm doing Let's Eat, but my drop isn't in 15, so it's fine.
Okay.
I like what you just said is important, but I'm gonna sort of go in parallel with just how the industry is broken up right now. And speaking off the back of Expo, if you're just walking through, there are better for you brands, right? That aren't better for you. There are even now, one comes to mind, and I'm not going to call it out because I don't do stuff like that. There's now these like better for you umbrella type of situations happening where some guy or gal has a ton of money, and they're building these brands underneath the umbrella. There's one again that comes to mind, and I kind of chuckle internally, right? Because they're building the better for you brands, and I chuckle because when I look up at the brands, I go, there's nothing better for you about these brands. And what's scary is they're actually like healthy people. You know what I mean? They're actually people who live a healthy lifestyle. They just got a shit ton of money, and they're popping up these better for you brands. And I just want to scream, does anybody else not what's going on around here? Anyway,
I guess
I'm bringing this up as a reference because what you just said is really, really important. There's also going to be a lot of brands who come to you or you come to them and they say things that are sort of off the cuff because it's supposed to be said today. It's like it's supposed to be said. Hey, Nicole, we really want to.
No. Is it authentic?
No,
is it meaningful?
No. Come on. The ones that want to, you
do.
Just the same as when I see really fake, better for you brands. So I'm just talking, it's a little early. It's early. We're already getting this going early. Had a great workout this morning. It's probably what it is. I'm high off fuel, endorphins, and running right now. I really am just breaking that down is, there are so many. This is the optimist in me, though. There are so many really great, smaller, emerging brands that do want to do what you're talking about. You got plenty of business there. Those are the ones that you should be tackling. Anyway, there you go.
Yeah, and some of those conversations come across like, and Andrew, you've heard these too. When we're talking to them, and they're like, we've just started our business for 2 years, and this is our dream to start this and actually have an integration to start giving back. There's some really amazing conversations that we get to be a part of to help them launch a social impact strategy where they start to give back. The Lumia is one. There's even a everything boxer dogs store, which was really fun. Fur Haven, like there's some really cool brands that we worked with that have been able to integrate. So I agree with you. I think for sure you can tell if it's authentic or if it's kind of a play into, culture or something like that. But we do hope that we can. We also know that it's going to perform for them if it is authentic. And if it truly is going to be woven in as part of their brand and the causes are relevant and something that they truly care about, but also that they care about what the customers really care about. So I'm agree with you in what you're saying. And I understand on the better for you foods because I do read labels and we even teach our kids this as far as just because it looks healthy, this right here. No,
better for you. Better for you than what? Than something that's horrible for you. That can still.
That's a whole other subject, though. We could do 10 shows on that one.
Yeah, for sure. I think this has been really informative and helpful, and to hear how you think about it, Mark, in particular. And I think from our perspective, my whole goal with this from the very beginning, and something that Nicole has really come in and helped streamline has been, how do we make giving back authentic, genuine, but also a profitable endeavor for folks so that they can continue to do it? Because if it's just a one-off gift that you're doing every once in a while, it's not going to have as big of an impact as something that's built into and woven into the fabric of your business. So that's the real goal that we have, is to be able to make the case for the bottom line that this actually makes sense for you to do. Otherwise, if it's just harming the bottom line every single time, you're only going to be able to do it occasionally.
So Mark, founder, CEO, dad, most importantly, right? Would love to hear how you keep, what is your number one priority to keep all those things running smoothly? And I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this, but I want you to just share it with everybody because how do you keep yourself high performance and running on all these channels?
It's health. Health is priority number one. And I'm really lucky. Funny enough, I was going to write about this. I'm actually hiring. I've never done this. I have my second call with him. I'm hiring a nutrition coach. I know this sounds crazy. I've lived this lifestyle for 20 plus years, right? Physical, mental health, right? And I just feel I've dived deeper into it over the last 12 months, 18 months, just even more so than the last however many years. Always been. I want to dial it even more. And there's a specific coach that I know from here. Like, I just want to dial it up another notch. So with that said, health is priority. Exercise and nutrition is number one over everybody else. This is going to sound crazy. You have to be ultra selfish. That's what I call it. When it comes to the priorities, you are number one over everybody. Over my kids? Yes. Over your own kids. Why? Because if you are not physically and mentally healthy, you can't help other people. If you are not physically and mentally healthy, you cannot help other people. Dial in your exercise, eat well, nutritiously dense foods, 80% of the time, proteins, fats, carbohydrates. Make it your lifestyle. Then you can do all those other things. And it goes in that other order. Your family's right below that. And then it's work in that order. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, I think sometimes if you, people say that they don't have time or they reprioritize, you have to make time. And if you look at your calendar, you can kind of see where your priorities are and where your heart is. And for me, I actually completely align with you, which is rare, especially for a mom to say, actually, yes, and Andrew knows this. I'm very open about it, that I prioritize my health. I prioritize working out. I put it on my calendar. If I have to get up at 4 a.m, I do it. If I need to carve out another time and move my lunch and I'm going to work out during then, I get it done. I actually hired a coach too. Mine's more in powerlifting, but all my nutrition runs through that too. And I actually share this with my kids and my husband too. And my husband now, he's like, no, go. but my kids, I say, hey, mom gets up early and goes to the gym and I get back so I can see them off to school. I make that time. But I know that I'm a better person, a better mom, a better wife, a better worker, all the way around when I prioritize both working out and my nutrition. So everything else falls, it's a house of cards once you take that out. And then I also believe, to layer in another thing, I would say, find something that you really enjoy doing for that exercise. I recommend a training track. I don't care what it is. It could be spinning, it could be a walking, but for me right now, it's powerlifting. And for me, it's like, if I have a track and a coach, it's exciting. I get to grow and share those achievements and learn things about myself. So it's not just exercising anymore, it's training, right? And that makes me a better person. So like how you're talking about dialing in, that we're meant to do that. We're meant to challenge ourselves, and it gives us something outside of work to build onto, to build that confidence, right?
You said it. You said
Amazing.
it. Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing stuff. Thank you so much, Mark, for joining us today. This has been fantastic.
This was fun.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Congrats on all the stuff that you're working on. I'm pulling for you.
Thank you. Same to you, Mark. Appreciate you.